All right, welcome to the Warren Research Podcast with our Business Connect series, where we introduce you to other business owners and business leaders that are out there making things happen. Today's episode number 4 of our Connect series, and I am sitting here with Heather Ramirez from Sharespark Media. Um, Heather, tell us a bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, thanks for having me on here, Jacob. I appreciate it. Um, so my name is Heather Ramirez, and on April 16th, 2016, I uploaded my first vlog to YouTube because I had a 10-year career in marketing, and I came up with this idea to start a movement to promote digital literacy, partly because I was working at a middle school, high school. I saw this disconnect between the teachers, the admin, the parents, and the students and how they use technology. And being in marketing, I was I was constantly using technology, yet we were telling the kids to get off of technology, and I just thought that was a weird disconnect. So I wanted to start a movement to do that. I had no idea how to start a business. I had no idea, like even I didn't even know how to spell entrepreneur. But I thought that that was such a cool premise for a vlog. So I wanted to just share my story, figure it out, and put it out there for really my own sake to be able to watch it and look back at it just because I wanted to see what would become of this crazy decision that I was making.
Right on.
And now that business has evolved to becoming a YouTube coach because what I noticed was that in sharing my story, it empowered a lot of my viewers and my subscribers to also share their stories, whether they were entrepreneurs or whether they had some kind of, you know, story that they had to overcome in their life, or they have a hobby that they want to share with people or something that they want to teach to people. So now I'm a YouTube coach and consultant. I mainly help online entrepreneurs and personal brands build their presence and promote their stories on YouTube.
Wow, wow. Yeah, and it's definitely exciting to take that step. And kind of one of the things that, or one of the ways I actually originally got introduced with you is you have a story about ADD, ADHD, and kind of how that affected your life. And just speaking truthfully from the core is it's one of the things that has led me to begin the journey of openly talking about it. So, I mean, you mind kind of expanding on that a little bit, or
Yeah. So the thing I really liked about having a vlog and being on YouTube was, ironically, it was kind of the only place that I could truly be myself because I wasn't being judged by anyone that I actually cared about. So
yeah,
you're gonna have the trolls, you're gonna have whatever's, but I didn't expect my family and friends, and actually for the longest time I didn't even tell them that I was doing this just because I was like in my late 20s. I didn't want to hear the like, you're quitting your job to be a YouTuber. Like, what is that?
yeah,
This isn't going to work. And it just was like, I'm already questioning myself. I don't need you to do it for me. But anyway, as part of being more vulnerable, because I was just talking to an inanimate object,
yeah,
um, I got diagnosed, I think, like right before I became an entrepreneur, around that same time. And that really allowed me to, it just felt natural at that point to talk about my experience with it because, like you, it was something that I had struggled with since, forever,
yeah,
but had never, like, it didn't even occur to me that this was something that I had. Like, it just, like, no one, in my family, mental illness or, mental disabilities, is the entire idea of like mental health is not something that's even recognized. It's like totally taboo. So, when you see me not being able to like make these connections, or I'm easily forgetful or whatever, no one even questioned that, hey, maybe there's something different here,
yeah,
so when I got diagnosed, it was just, oh my god, I can't even explain to you the relief I felt just being able to understand myself and how I work, and that there's nothing wrong with me, but it's just different. So being able to create a system that really, and that's, I guess, the beauty of being an entrepreneur, is that I can truly create a system that
yeah,
optimizes for my, like, the way that I operate. And just sharing that on YouTube, like you said, that's how you discovered me. And I found, it again, like just being vulnerable. I didn't realize that that video would resonate with so many people, regardless of whether they were ADHD entrepreneurs or not. But just, seeing someone, I didn't know this when I was making the video at the time, but when I rewatch it, I get it. I see how, like, if I had watched that video 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's me, And so I'm glad that I could help in that way, which is also why I was excited to connect with you about this as well.
Yeah, no, it was it, a lot of people don't realize is like when you're in that conversation with your provider and then they turn to you and they're like, hey, this is looking because they do the skills and all that stuff to diagnose it, and it's like they say, well, you do have it. It's like, what do you think about that? It's like, yes, I
Yeah,
know what's going on now. It's not just me. And so
yeah,
it's so counterintuitive what you think, because it's like um, when you're unsure of exactly what's going on there, that your mind's constantly going a million miles an hour. There's different things that come with that. um, you can be mid conversation, lose your frame, lose your words on a more of an ongoing basis. And once you know where to focus, now you can start putting those systems in place
exactly.
um, to make you more productive. And then you can also get around those that are also, um, for you and I, entrepreneurship and that whole surrounding community that comes with it, is where, we can also find people that have overcome different challenges with ADHD and ADD, and continue to move forward. And it's super exciting. Um, and it is truly seeing how vulnerable you were, where it wasn't like, hey, oh, I'm vulnerable. It was this. It was like, hey, no, so what? Let's make things
Yeah,
happen. And I think that's what the other resonating piece is that it wasn't a hindrance. It was like,
yeah.
no, we're moving forward. So that brings me up to, what is the favorite part about what you do as your business, and just what's the favorite part of what you do?
I think I think my favorite part about being entrepreneur is not being held back. Um, Gosh, in every job that I had, I almost had to like consciously tell myself to dial things back because I I would come up with so many ideas and it seemed like my ideas were just faster paced than the organization's. A lot of the times people would just ask me, like, why do you want to do that? Like, we don't need to do that. But I was like, but if we did, it would be, like it would just be positively impactful. And I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. I think a
Yeah,
part of the reason was, most of my career was in nonprofit and they tend to be pretty slow.
yeah,
Um, but, I think it's kind of a double-edged sword because I like being able to be a jack of all trades, but that also means that there's so much to do and it feels like the to-do list never ends. So I do like being in control. Um, I like being able to, part of being ADHD is I am super impulsive. So that
yeah.
was amazing as a vlogger because it was like I would literally come up with an idea. For example, I think it was 2 years ago now when Facebook Live debuted. Live streaming at the time was like completely foreign. It was like, why would you ever want to go live? Like, why would you want to go live? And because I was trying to promote digital literacy, my thing was like, I just need to understand how these tools work. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I just need to know, like, what's the goal here. So
Yeah.
I came up with an idea to just literally dance down Second Street in Long Beach, which is like it's like the main drive where there's bars, there's restaurants, there's people walking around. It was like Sunday brunch time.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and I took the phone and my brother and we just danced down the street because I just wanted to see, like, what was the reaction online, what was the reaction when people saw the phone, like, and there's no approval, there's
Uh,
no planning meeting, there's no budget. It's just like I come with that idea and go. And I think that has just really allowed me to explore my creativity, push myself beyond anything I even knew I was capable of in a way that I wish I had in a job position. I wish I was able to have that challenge, but um, I never had. So that's my favorite part, being a solopreneur.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I think the other kind of something that reminds me of is even like in school, it was thinking back to then is if something wasn't moving faster enough, it wasn't that you like I honestly was not a very good student from, as far as yeah, I'm
I
sure
was
my
never.
parents will, yeah. But if I got a topic that I was interested in, you'd go for it. And I
Yeah.
think that speaks to like you were talking about being the jack of all trades, and it's always interesting because your mind is the way it is. It's so much more fascinating when you can try those things. I mean, and you can explore different for me in IT, it's different technologies and also that social platform or the different social platforms because it's just kind of it's fascinating. But then once it becomes kind of that mundane repetitive task, you're kind of like, okay, not so much. At least I know I do. So
Yeah, and that's why it's like I had to dial things back. And I would literally go home telling myself, like, why do you care about this so much? Like, go home and watch football like every other normal person. Like, why are you so invested in work? And after having gotten diagnosed, it was just like, well, that's why. Like,
yeah.
I just, my mind's always turning. um and it's just like I can't even explain to you the stream of ideas, especially like at my last job where it was a school. There's kids running around, there's teachers coming, teachers being creative in classrooms, and me being the marketer. It was like, gosh, everything is an idea. So
Oh yeah. Holy
yeah.
cow. Yeah, no, I can only imagine with that. So now, so what would you say is the most difficult thing about what you do?
um that's a good question. um well, because I'm one person, I think
Okay.
the prioritization, you know there are things in the business that no one else is going to take care of, and it's obviously, I don't love everything. Like, literally, I'm in the
Oh yeah.
middle of like doing the books right now, preparing for taxes, and it's like I totally don't want to be doing this, but that's just the nature of the solopreneur life. I think the other thing too is, and I think this is part of, actually, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's ADHD or if it's my brain or if it's like how, self-esteem, confidence. I'm sure it's a whole mix of it. But sometimes I tend to be really hard on myself
Oh yeah.
for, maybe I set a goal and I don't hit it, or maybe I'm just like feeling depressed that day and I don't get through the to-do list and I'm like super hard on myself. Um, I miss like having the team meetings where everyone would get together and like celebrate accomplishments. My team is like Ben and Ollie, who are sitting right behind me, my golden retriever and my corgi. And so, that's another thing I miss. I think, just the nature of who I am. I feed off of other people's energy, and it's really hard to find stimulating things when I'm building online courses, and I'm kind of here in my office, but there's not, so easy like at my jobs because people were just constant, like people were
Yeah.
just walking by in the hallway. Um, yeah, so I would say that that's probably the hardest part. So it's just an ongoing process. Like, we before we you started recording, we mentioned Todoist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, different tools that I've been able to help, really kind of maximize the output that I'm able to create every day. But that's definitely an ongoing process.
Yeah, no, and I totally understand and can relate to that. I think kind of one of the things I'm challenging myself is to one do things like this. It's that opportunity where um, those friendships and relationships, picking up and doing a video chat or something like that. It's not it's not identical, but I definitely understand it. It's almost like you get a burst of energy after you do that. But then there's other times where you're like, okay, no, I'm done with people. I'm done with this.
Yeah, for sure.
I need to sit over here and be quiet,
Yeah,
type of
yeah,
deal.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, I totally understand. So what would you say for whether it's in digital marketing or ADHD, what are 3 tips that you think everybody should know, short or long tips?
Um, that's a good question. Like, I think for ADHD, the biggest thing was learning more about it. Like
Yeah.
it was just a world that, like I said, I had no exposure to it aside from what I had observed from like the special needs kids or the kids who had like extra help or whatever. And that's just, how much insight am I gaining there just from observing something that I don't even understand? So I think even by looking at the responses on my ADHD video, there seems to be a lot of shame and a lot of just like, oh, I'm wrong or I'm different in some way. And I think, like we were saying before, there's nothing wrong with being different. And
Yeah.
it's been a personal journey to accept that, embrace that, and capitalize on that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think just like making sure that like I've been able to discover um, ADHD manifests differently for everybody, but I've been able to discover like, wow, I am who I am, and I'm proud of who I am, and a big part of that is ADHD. So I think just like I don't know how that tip would look for anybody, but taking the time to really understand and not feel bad about it. Like I'm in Facebook groups that are like ADHD support groups, and I just feel like so bad sometimes that people are like, I have ADHD. This sucks. I'm behind in some way, and I'm like, no, you don't have to be. So, but
Yeah.
obviously that's a personal journey. Um, in terms of digital marketing, I have always, I'm at the forefront. So I'm doing things that I would say a lot of small businesses, a lot of traditional businesses are still kind of afraid of doing. Part of that is being more vulnerable. Part of that is being more relatable, creating content that people can really resonate with that doesn't necessarily have to do with your business, but makes you a person that people can
Yeah.
connect with. So especially if you're a personal brand and all you're doing is talking about the thing that you're selling, like you're seriously just coming off like a commercial. Um, I mean, this is why we're connecting. We're
Yeah.
connecting about ADHD. And of course, we could talk about our, the things that we offer as entrepreneurs, our services and our products and stuff like that. But I think um, in today's world and how we consume and connect and all of those things, people are just going to do business with people that they like. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's going to
Exactly.
come down to. Yeah. So the more that you can share, um, even if it's like, hey, I'm going hiking today, I'm going to the gym, this is what I eat for dinner. It feels like, I remember people would look at Facebook like, oh, I don't care what you're eating for dinner. Um, you don't want to make it so it's like you're just watching somebody else live, but there's totally
Yeah.
a way to show kind of your methodology, your philosophy with how you run your business and how you run your life, that I feel like would resonate with potential customers and clients.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and yeah, you definitely gave some good tips. It was just kind of across the board because like, what some people don't realize is, yeah, somebody might take a picture of food and just share it to share it, like, oh, I'm eating at this restaurant. But some of it, it's if you are a artisan cooker or cook or chef, there could be something about that and the makeup of it that's totally different. Whereas somebody else just looking at, they scroll past a photo and it's like, oh, what's that mean? And it's really what is the age-old saying that people don't buy the product, they buy the
A person.
person?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, people think that social media is making us, they try to make up excuses where they're saying it's tearing us apart or that, well, it's just revealing who we are. And people that put up a front, just like in your friend circles and stuff like that, those ones that are kind of the posers and all that stuff, you'll just be like, all right, yeah, half of what they say you ignore, and then the other half, is just BS anyways. And so it's
Right.
like,
Exactly.
yeah, I'd rather work with somebody that I know is passionate about what they do, know that if I'm going to ask them a question, they're going to give a truthful answer, whether I like it or not, because I'd rather have friends that tell me the truth than make me feel good, you
Right.
know, not to
Exactly.
say,
And
you know,
y-
yeah,
this is a
you know it.
totally, yeah, this is a totally extreme example, but like I met my fiance on YouTube. So, uh, like, you are totally able to build genuine connections, whether they were personal or for business, online. And I think, online world is just a giant party that's
Yeah,
digital. It's the same thing. It's like, yeah, I could take a picture of my food and just share it, but you could also start a conversation. Like, do you
absolutely.
put pineapples on pizza or not? And then it's a whole thing, and um, you could ask like, oh, what does that have to do with my business? But it's like, as long as you're being, I hate using this word because it's so played out now, but like authentic, as long
Yeah.
as you're being like, people can easily tell when they meet me in person. They may have watched a few videos and they're like, I feel like I know you because I've watched all your videos, but you'll see that I'm exactly the same person. There's nothing that's like manufactured. And I think there is a fear of the camera if you've never done it
Oh,
before. But I think after a few times, I think honestly, it's easier to do marketing just being yourself than trying to appear picture perfect. Like I work with a lot of financial advisors, which is a very tough
yeah.
industry to create social media content around. Obviously, they're very suit and tie and very, professional, and you don't have to compromise that. There's a balance of like, this is how you're different from the other financial advisor by just being you.
Yeah, and it's all relates to context of the
Yeah,
environment that you're
exactly, exactly.
I mean, it's and just like if we walk into a room that's, that there is a party going on to, we're going to act according to the context of that
Yeah,
area. It's not where we're not acting in the sense of being fake. We're just matching that, just like some people, don't curse around children when there's a whole
right.
bunch of kids around. It's not that you're acting, it's just you're being real. And if anything, when you approach digital mediums in that manner, it can be a tool that does bring people closer together. Um, and so I think that's especially awesome that you met your fiance on YouTube. That
Yeah,
that that's pretty cool. And so
yeah.
um, yeah, that's awesome. And I'll let everybody else. You have to watch her videos to find out the announcements of different things that are going on in her life. So yeah, I'll throw that in there somewhere for you. Um, so in that case, not speaking too much on the marketing side, it's kind of an interesting segue going from there to, talking about the whole purpose of the audience and the context of this audience is that we're all business and stuff. Um, how can people connect with you and what special things you have going on? I know you have a social media guide that's out there that I definitely recommend people take a look at. How many pages? It was like 5 pages of, or
Yeah,
how?
it's 12 steps, 15 pages,
Oh,
to
15.
optimize. Yeah, it's to optimize your YouTube channel for your business. So especially if you're trying to build a brand, or you have a service or product to sell, and you want to use YouTube to expose, to get more exposure, and tell people about it. This will help you optimize your channel for not only search, but for getting more subscribers and views. And I'm also in the middle of creating an online course. So
Oh,
stay tuned for that. You can find all that on my website. It's sharesparkmedia.com, ShareSpark media.com.
awesome. Yeah, no, and I'll make sure to, depending on where you guys are consuming this from, if you're listening to this, there'll be some notes out there. You can go directly to our website to get the information. But on YouTube, I'll definitely make sure to link directly to all her different platforms and stuff. I do
Yeah.
have one side question.
Yeah. What's up?
Are you on TikTok?
You know,
Oh, come on.
yeah, I was on the Musically train, which I thought, if it's similar to that, which is my understanding it is. Um, but here's what I learned being
Okay.
ADHD entrepreneur. Uh, I want to be on everything. but I also am easily distracted.
Oh, yes.
And I
Yeah.
just, I, when I decided to focus on YouTube, I just decided to focus on YouTube. So I know about it. I haven't downloaded it yet. I think that if you are an entrepreneur and you have either the time or the resources to check it out, I think you should. But
Awesome.
also, it's not for everyone. It's hard for people to create 10-second, 15-second content. Um, so yeah. So I'm not to answer your
Okay,
question.
okay. Well, yeah.
Are you on it?
Yes, I actually have two profiles, one for Warren Research and one for myself, and I've been sampling with it because so
That's so
and
funny. Maybe this is the sign that
it's
I need to check it
it's
out.
well, it's directly in line with direct competition at this stage within the last couple months to Instagram for Instagram videos now. I mean, I forgot how many billions of users they're up to now.
Yeah, I think they passed users, Instagram users
Yeah, I think so, and
worldwide. Yeah.
it's definitely worth checking out. It's always funny when I talk to somebody in entrepreneurship, and I say TikTok, they're like, "What?" You know, it's like,
There's
no,
another new thing. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's definitely check out. Well, Heather, thank you so much for taking the time to
Yeah.
be on this podcast, being a part of it, and sharing your story. And truly, I mean, in later video or something, I'll have to share with you guys as well, just how much of what you would think would be just a short video of somebody talking and just being sincere about what they were going, and you might pass it by, but how much that impacted me and inspired me just to go ahead and it was the final straw to just let me know that, hey, as goofy and weird as I might be, go for it. So,
Yeah.
Heather, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you so much.